Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So it's the finest. You can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.
Yeah, we came a long way, and that's what the song say. And I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah, I can do all things. Yeah.
Hey, Love Your Life family. It's your sis, Crystal.
What's Going On Fam. It's your boy, Andre.
And well, back at you with another Loving Your Life discussion.
Yes. So tell me, babe, how's everything going? I know it's another hot one in Arizona. Well, I think we're about 93 degrees today. Obviously, the nation, the world is still reeling as a result of protests and so forth that are going on. But how are you doing? What's been going on with you, girl?
You know, I'm doing all right. It's been a productive day. Had a busy day with clients, and which I love what I do. So thankful for that. Thankful to just be honored to be welcomed into somebody's space, and it's a gift. You know, I'm just thankful for it. It's been a productive day with kids, and also snuck in like a 20-minute nap.
Okay, all right. Sure,
Which never happens.
I'm not mad at you. Need that nap.
So that was great. And then had a really good time this morning, just going through a couple of things, continuing to read and just equip and educate myself on different viewpoints concerning everything that's been going on in our nation that continues to bring balance to my perspective. So it's been a fruitful day.
Well, good.
What about you?
You know what? I concur. Definitely, very productive today at work. Let me say this, getting tongue-tied. Just very productive at work. Got a lot of things accomplished, which is a good thing. But one of the highlights for me today was just really conversations with some of my homeboys from college. Just really reflecting as, African-American men, just really talking about, emotions, how you're feeling, and then really focused on being a part of the solution, which is great. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to begin to have some consistent dialogue via Zoom or some type of social media platform, just us get together and converse. Over 20 years, friends I went to college with, played ball with, and each of us successful in our own right, taking care of our families. And so that was definitely a highlight for me today, and I'm looking forward for those continued conversations. It's always good to hear other people's perspectives, and and even be able to share yours. So it was a exciting conversation. I'm looking forward to continued conversations.
Good deal. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, you know what? I really want to focus on today, listening to your body, or listen to your body. And what prompted me to even think about this was just the importance of how our body speaks to us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it may be that check in our gut, or we feel just, a little uneasy about something, or, we feel that we sense, for lack of a better word, sometimes you can't even explain it, but you sense you need to do something else, you need to refrain from doing something. And oftentimes we talk ourselves out of it. And I want to encourage today, I really want to talk about just listening to our body, because oftentimes our body is sensing things and we're feeling uncomfortable for a particular reason. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes we talk ourselves out of it. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be okay. It doesn't matter. But I want to encourage, the importance of just listening to your body, because oftentimes, and not always the case, but oftentimes, our body is giving us signals,
right,
as a way of preserving us, protecting us, or warning us. And sometimes we're not consciously aware of what our body's trying to tell us.
I think that's crucial. And I think that we also live in a world that definitely minimizes it. Mm-hmm. And tries to condition us. Oh, you just got to fight. You just got to... don't let nothing stop you. And there's some truth to that. But, the goal here today is to bring balance.
Yeah.
When dealing with your body trying to tell you something. And let's put it out there real quick. If your body is craving somebody else's husband or wife, that is not what we were talking about.
Right. Well, for sure. I'm glad you mentioned it. Because listen, and even, we want to bring balance. But obviously, we've shared numerous times that we're never going to deviate from our faith. And so as believers, obviously the Bible is very clear about the lusts of the flesh.
Right.
So this conversation is not about lusts of the flesh. You can check it out in Galatians 5. We're not going to go deep into that. But when we say listen to your body, it doesn't mean if you're lusting or craving or desiring something that's forbidden. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
But we want to. So I'm glad you brought that up because at the end of the day, people can find a way to justify what they want.
Right.
Girl, you're supposed to be my wife, and they've been married for 5 years with someone else.
Right.
Or just so people find a way to justify something that they wanted to that they want, whether it's wrong or not. So again, this is not in regards to desiring something or craving something that is sinful in nature or just wickedness. We're talking about things like a huge one. I want to stress. Oftentimes, when we're on the go, we feel tired, fatigued, or sometimes, our body begins to, get sick, maybe a cough or cold, or just wore out. And that's, a natural mechanism, nothing all deep, but our body is telling us, listen, you need to slow down. Mm-hmm. You need to slow down. Well, and so that's a huge one. Listen to your body. You owe it to yourself. We talk about loving your life. Mm-hmm. You are worthy enough to take time to rest versus go from task to task, job to job, never making time for your well-being.
And you have to kind of resolve within yourself, there's always going to be something to do, mm-hmm. period. And so you can sit there and list the 50 things that you need to get done, and I don't have time for this and time for that. And if that's your mentality, you do have to understand that your body will shut down eventually. And that looks different for everybody, and if that's what you're waiting for, that's an unbalanced perspective and unhealthy, and it shows lack of self-value. Mm-hmm. And so it goes back to taking care of yourself and making a decision that is a sound decision that promotes healing, health, and wholeness for you and those that you are caring for, or vice versa, those that are caring for you. And so being able to truly dismantle guilt, feeling guilty, I've got a little ahead of myself because I wanted to kind of discuss, what are the reasons why people don't, what are things that cause or thoughts that come to people's mind that keep them from listening to their bodies.
Well, I think some of it is, that they're oftentimes, especially when someone else is trying to persuade them, oftentimes people are persuaded or don't want to be confrontational, so they go along with it even though they may not agree with it. Mm-hmm. Whereas their body may be screaming it inside on, this ain't right, or I don't feel good about this, but because so-and-so want me to, I'm just going to go along with it.
Right.
And even whether that's someone that's quote-unquote an authority figure over you, a peer, a mentor, a friend, listen, at the end of the day, I want to stress, as adults, you have the power to choose. Do not allow your decisions or your choices that you make be persuaded by someone just because of your relationship with them. And so why do people go along with it or don't listen to their body? I think some of it is they're persuaded out of what their body is trying to warn them mm-hmm. about. They're persuaded out of it. Sometimes it's out of false obligation. They feel like they owe it to someone to go along with this person, to listen to this person, even though they don't agree.
Right.
So sometimes it's false obligation. Sometimes it's guilt. They feel guilty. So-and-so was there for me when I'm at my lowest. So even though I don't want to do this, or even though I know this is not right, because they want me to, I'm going to go along with it. And that could be simple as, someone is making you feel guilty. And so you give them money and you rationalize it because they helped you out in times past.
Which is a form of manipulation.
Correct. So if someone is hanging something over your head, what they did for you, and this is why you need to do this for them, that is a form of manipulation. Yes, we believe in helping one another. We're not saying that you should help one another. However, you should never allow someone to make you feel guilty if you are unable to help.
Right.
Okay? I'm not talking about sacrifice. I'm saying if you look at your situation and you just cannot do something that someone wants you to do, mm-hmm. it's okay. Don't feel guilty about that. And if you succumb to their requests out of guilt, yes, that is a form of manipulation. So just be mindful of that. So I think again, sometimes people are persuaded out of it, false obligations. Sometimes people are made to feel guilty about it. And then, truth be told, sometimes people are shamed into doing something.
Oh, that's a huge one.
So I think there's a host of reasons why, but, shame. Well, if I don't, they're going to talk about me. They're going to put me on blast, per se. They're going to throw me under the bus and embarrass me. So I better do this because I don't want to get embarrassed.
Right.
I mean, there's a host of reasons why, but again, part of loving your life, we really want to stress the power that as humans we have. And I don't care who it is, someone that birthed us into the world, loved ones who have raised us. We thank God for all those people who loved us, sacrificed for us, birthed us in the world, our parents, but at the end of the day, as we become an adult, you have to stand on our own 2 feet, make our own choices. Yes, listen to wise counsel, but listen to your body. If you get a check about something that you shouldn't go along with or you don't agree with, do not talk yourself out of it.
Right,
and I think many times, people, they fall victim to that. They try to talk themselves out of, a decision that's best for them for the sake of what someone else wants.
Yeah, another thing is being able to listen to your your body when you don't feel safe, which a lot of times is rooted in past traumas. One of the books that I absolutely love, it's called The Body Keeps a Score. The author's name is blank right now in my mind, but it really deals with the science behind trauma and how our bodies hold trauma. And so there's times when you walk into a room, or there may be an individual that comes off a certain way and your body is alerting you that you're not safe. And as we continue to talk about this, I'm going to kind of unpack it a little bit more, but not because your body is responding to whatever triggered it. Being okay with saying, I can't do this environment, I don't feel safe around it, and not bending to language that may come off as you're weak if you're not pushing through it, and learning to pay attention and to listen to your body. And this is ongoing. This isn't something that I've completely mastered, and so being able to be okay with listening to your body when it's screaming, you're not safe.
Well, and I think that's a huge, even as you mentioned it, listen to your body when you're not safe. This is huge for adults, but for all of us as adults, but for sure for our young girls and our young boys. It is all too often where, kids inherently, or they're taught to just, don't worry about it, keep playing, or it's no big deal. He or she is your friend. And that may be the case. However, I truly believe, babe, even as we raise our children, it's important for us as we raise our children, but I think for all parents and guardians to make sure they teach their child and their children, the people that they're raising, it is okay if you don't feel comfortable around someone.
Right.
Whether they're your uncle, or aunt, family member or not, it is okay. And I'm not talking about just scared of people in general, but if your child or someone you're raising comes to you and just feel uncomfortable around someone, instead of making them stay with them, making them spend the night with them, or making them be alone with this person, that should be an instant red flag, a check, like, you know what? Even if it's nothing there, for the sake they don't feel comfortable, listening to them, to their voice, and empowering them by listening and saying, you know what, I'm not going to leave you in this predicament. I think that's huge. And we need to make sure that we teach our children. I know we have a lot of conversations, with our sons and even our daughter about that. And that's something that's ongoing because they're developing, they're shaping, they're being, they're growing, their brain is growing, their personality is coming out, but they need to understand that it's okay to not feel comfortable around someone. And it's okay to speak up and say, no, don't do this. Absolutely. Or no, I don't want to play, or whatever it is.
Right. And I know kind of in the past, if I've given our children permission to, hey, I'm not comfortable in this room, I'm not comfortable around you. Like if, I'm just going to give a scenario, like if they are over at grandparents' house and there's something that's making them uncomfortable, being able to convey to grandparents, hey, they have permission to not participate in something if they are uncomfortable. So that they are very clear that if my child says, I'm not comfortable, I don't want to do something, that they're not using language to guilt them into doing something that they've already been told. If you're uncomfortable, you don't have to participate in it. And so it's empowering them by letting them know that you have conversed with the other adult that is there, that my child is not going to be forced into doing anything that they don't feel safe or comfortable doing. And we're not talking about healthy challenges. We're talking about they are strictly something is off. I do not feel safe.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. That goes back down to, again, empowering our children, and then listening, because that is very powerful when you raise up your children that way, because they're learning to be independent. They're learning, obviously, to listen to what they're feeling, and then responding accordingly, versus being just naive and going along with it and blowing it off. And I want to stress, even as adults, it's easy to go along with something and not even realize that you're being manipulated.
Right.
So we're talking about it now, but I want to stress something. A lot of times it comes off very subtle, and you begin to kind of rationalize, well, they have my best interest in mind. But we really want to stress, be aware, and listening to your body. Oftentimes that is a key signal that something is off. And even if you don't know what is off, it's okay to just not go along with it until you have clarity. See, oftentimes, especially when people want us to do something, they want us to make a decision right then and there. Well, you have the power to say, you know what, I've heard what you want. This is what you're asking me. I'm not sure about this right now. I need some time to think about it. And feeling okay with, I'm not giving you an answer, yes or no. I'm telling you I need more time to think about what decision I'm going to make or what direction I'm going to take. I think that is powerful, and you owe it to yourself. Okay, do not live your life on someone else's time clock.
Right.
You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself as an adult to set your own time frames. Okay, I believe in healthy challenges and so forth. I'm not against that. But if you're living, from challenge to challenge, or constantly living your life trying to meet someone else's schedule for your life, that's definitely out of order. And truth be told, you're being manipulated. And so I think it's huge that people are aware of that. And then I think too, I want to stress, babe, because I can only imagine sometimes people look at it as they're doing this to help me versus manipulate me. And so what I want to stress for people, that again, there's a difference between someone who's walking alongside you and encouraging you, motivating you, and even giving you healthy challenges. Okay, I'm not against someone that's providing like a healthy challenge for you, meaning they may let's just, for lack of a better term, you're working out or whatever, and they'll challenge you to do one more or something for the sake of your well-being, or encouraging you, hey, I know you feel like giving up, but you can finish this last lap, or whatever the case.
Right.
There's a difference between someone who's healthy, providing a healthy challenge, versus someone strictly trying to manipulate you and get you to go along with something they want you to do, and you do not want to do it.
Right.
And so I want to stress that that's a huge sticking point. I want to make sure that's clear. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's huge.
Yeah, I think it makes complete sense. Because at the end of the day, it's teaching you how to set healthy boundaries. It's teaching you how to be empowered, how to speak up for yourself. And this may be a weak muscle in you.
Right.
And so when somebody's constantly trying to dictate or determine what you do with your time and your focus and your energy, without taking into consideration that you have a life.
That's good. Your time, your focus, and your energy. That's very good. When someone is trying to dictate what you do with your time, your focus, and your energy.
Right.
I think that is a key giveaway that, whoa, I'm being manipulated. Whoa, they're trying to control me.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, I kind of want to flip this on its head, though. So we're talking about listening to your body. So now let's flip it in a sense of, this is an analogy. You've had the trauma of surgery in your body, right? Let's say you've had a hip replacement, okay? And so if you've had a hip replacement and mentally you've had to go through the recovery, the physical therapy, well, you're getting ready to start physical therapy, right? But you're like, you wake up from surgery, you're dealing with the pain. Okay, I need the pain medication. And now you have to get up and you have to start walking on this new hip again, okay? Okay, so your body may be telling you, no, don't move because it's going to hurt too much.
Right.
But if you don't exercise that hip again, it's going to be more disabling.
Well, but again, that's where wisdom comes in.
Right.
Because wisdom says, you know what, even though this hurts, this really is for my good.
Right.
Meaning I'm taking this step to walk again, even though it hurts, because I know if I don't get up and exercise these legs or these muscles, it's going to challenge me from ever walking again.
Right.
So again, that's where the wisdom comes in.
Yeah.
It's not just that if someone challenges you, they're trying to manipulate you. It's you really discerning or using wisdom. What they're asking me, is this truly going to help me? Meaning, am I going to benefit from this? Or are they asking me to do something strictly because they want me to and it's going to benefit just them?
Right.
You know, and so I think that's a big difference, being able to truly look at it using wisdom. You know, are you being challenged in ways that's going to truly help you? Or are you being tasked to do something that is not about you, it's just about the other person?
Right. And so, because life happens, things occur that are out of your control, and it can be very traumatic. And you have a time that you're off the field, you know, whatever that looks like for you. You're shut down, you're regrouping, you're healing, and then starting life back over again and taking those steps. There's discomfort that comes with that, and being able to understand that there's wisdom in the counsel of many, getting those around you that are going to give you sound counsel versus recycling constantly in your mind, oh, what if this happens, and what if that happens, where you've now reasoned your way out of stepping out on something that is new, with the understanding that your body is already telling you this could be really dangerous, this might not be safe, because of what you've been through. And so, again, like you said, you know, using wisdom, knowing that you're stepping into an environment that's not manipulative and that is safe for you to take one step at a time.
You know, and I think it definitely ties into just being being reflective.
Yeah.
Meaning, well, let me just say for me, I realized even as I became an adult years ago, you know, when I was in my early 20s, I just remember certain conversations used to just annoy me and bother me. And I avoided certain conversations. And from the outside looking in, people were not able to tell what I was feeling inside. But inside, I was kind of anxious, uneasy. And it had nothing to do with abuse or anything like that. But I know these conversations were triggers and causing internal anxiety that people couldn't see.
Right.
But internally, it was causing frustration and anger and resentment. And it was tied to, you know, past experiences of struggling in that area. And here I am trying to talk about it. And because it was a struggle for me, but it took me a while to realize, to be reflective and say, well, why am I feeling like this? And we're just having a conversation. And when I really began to just take some time and just be and reflect upon my body and what I was feeling, and then realize that, whoa, the reason why I'm feeling anxious and even angry inside about this conversation is because this conversation directly ties into experiences that I had.
Yeah.
And so when we say listen to your body, part of it is maturity.
That's
meaning
huge.
You have the benefit and the opportunity to mature, grow, learn from, do better when you listen to your body and make the necessary adjustments, versus you're not even paying attention to your body, what it's saying or feeling, and you just keep doing the same old thing over and over again, not realizing that you're robbing yourself from growing up.
You know, let's talk about a couple of, I love the example that you just gave, but I know in the past, like, there's been times where we've counseled couples, and sometimes the wife he just doesn't talk, he shuts down, he won't say anything when I'm talking, and, you know, I've raised the question, was he allowed to talk as a kid? Did he learn how to effectively communicate? And is what you're seeing projected out of him clamming up and becoming quiet because your behavior triggers him from childhood, just not knowing how to effectively communicate. Sit down, shut up, and listen, do what I say, not as I do type of environment. And now as an adult, he's now having to confront conflict within a relationship, but has never been taught. And so your volume and your delivery is a trigger.
Right.
And so he's
what you're
listening
saying-
to his body
Right.
versus learning how to develop communication skills to get past this obstacle within their marriage.
So you're saying, babe, men, we can't talk? Is that what you're saying?
I'm giving you an example.
Oh, okay. Let me
I
clarify
said
that.
example.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that's very
women
good.
go through that as well.
That's
they
for
clam
sure.
up and
Best believe I was going to say that very thing for my brothers. No, but for real, I think as humans we share that in common, meaning male or female. We have a tendency, because of our experiences, things that we've gone through and so forth, we may react a certain way. But the goal of it is taking some time to reflect and listen to your body so that you can make those necessary adjustments to do better, versus stay stuck in a cycle over and over again, repeating the same course over and over again, wasting weeks, months, and years, denying your ability to mature because it's not addressed. And it's not addressed because you're not paying attention to what needs to be addressed. So I think that loving your life and doing your inner work, is very key and a necessary ingredient in order to mature.
right, and it goes back to confronting your fears.
Yeah.
Being able to confront that part of you that's uncomfortable with looking within and identifying, okay, why am I feeling this way? And here's the thing, God made no mistakes when he created us, down to our nervous system, our cells. And so when your body is talking to you, it's screaming help. Mm-hmm. And so being able to, again, go in and look, okay, what is this trigger? Why is my body feeling this? Versus, it's the fight or flight. Being able to, okay, I'm going to fight through this and identify what it is, pinpoint it, get truth to it so I can heal, so that it's not mastering my life, versus I'm just going to run because it's uncomfortable, it's scary, and I'm not minimizing that. Okay, so there's no absolutes on every individual's process and journey to confronting these issues. That's unique to each individual depending on what you've been through. So I want to be very clear on that. But understanding that avoidance will not bring healing.
Well, for sure. Avoidance definitely won't bring healing. And again, this is wrapped up in loving your life.
Yeah.
Okay? You owe it to yourself to not be someone's doormat.
Yeah.
To not allow someone to just walk all over you and you bend and break just to make them feel comfortable. Again, you are no one's doormat. Loving your life, love your life. You're worthy, you're called, you have purpose. There's beauty on the inside of you. And regardless of what you've been through, regardless of how many mistakes you've made, we all fall short. And the beauty of it is this. Instead of always looking at it, I failed. What about I've experienced another opportunity to learn?
Right.
Glass half empty versus glass half full. And so loving your life enough to speak up, stand up for yourself, listen to your body, make the necessary adjustments, and do not allow anyone to hold you hostage because of what they want you to do.
Yeah, and it goes back, I really want to, as you mentioned, loving your life. That's what it's about. You can't minimize the meaning of love. What you always learning to go back to, what does that mean? What does it mean to love my life? That means to be patient with your life. Love is long suffering. Mm-hmm. Love is patient, and you have to really dissect those words and apply them to your life journey and how you are truly one day at a time learning how to be patient with your life, learning how to be kind to yourself. That's why it's the hardest thing on the earth to do.
Baby, and even as you say that, I want to make sure I stress too, because I can just imagine some people are saying, well, I'm doing this because I love him or her and I'm sacrificing for them.
Right.
Listen, there's a difference between, because, love is patient, love is kind, and love does mean sacrifice. Okay. You can't truly love someone without sacrifice. You can't really sacrifice without love.
Right.
But I want to stress, oftentimes people use the word love and it's really lust, meaning love is a two-way street, meaning, or sacrifice is a two-way street. If you're the only one doing the sacrificing in the relationship, and you keep doing because you say, well, I'm sacrificing of myself for them, but it's not being reciprocated, then they're not demonstrating sacrifice or love towards you. And if that's you, you're the short end of the stick all the time, meaning you're the only one doing the sacrificing in the relationship. Okay? You got to ask yourself, is that truly love or is it lust? Meaning, are they preying on you and you manipulating your emotions to keep you doing what they want you to do for their benefit? And so, hey, use wisdom. It's been real, but I want to stress, listen to your body. Okay, listen to your body. It's speaking, it's trying to warn you, it's trying to help you. And do not be persuaded by someone else to continue to get you to do something they want you to do, even though it goes against your will, your desires, your wants. So it's been real. We love you, baby. Tell them where they can check us out at.
You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Thank you all again so much. We love you.
Peace.
Shout to the city that raised me. Shout to the people that made me. I'm from the 80s. I don't think mumbling wavy. I grew up black on a Jay-Z. Maybe I'm crazy. I ain't been wondering lately. Feel like it's there for the taking. Feel like I'm good with the changes. Know who I am. And that's the most dangerous state.
Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So to find us, you can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.